So, hi everybody! Sorry, it's been a while since I posted. Things have been a little hectic. But, so for those of you that were wondering, I was asked by someone to give some advice on using the GI Bill. Now, there's a concern with that. The reason being is because with the VA, the way that the GI Bill works is that unless your degree plan says that a study abroad is required, the VA/GI Bill will not pay for it. Hence why I had to find another route to pay for it. However, there are some universities that I have found that on their degree plan, whether it's international relations, whether it's global business, whatever your major, I've noticed that some schools actually put in there that you are required to do a study abroad. So it's part of your degree plan, if you will. So if that's the case, then the VA will pay for it because it is on your degree plan. Now, what you would do to get the VA to pay for it is the same process as you go through every other semester. Now, some countries, such as Japan, require you to have a certain amount of money to be able to study there. It's to prove that you are able to take care of yourself and you will not become, I guess, a burden on society, if you will. So those countries are a little bit more difficult. Now, Japan, however, they require that you have a certain amount of money as well. Now, after saying that, Japan, the program I chose, ISA, acts as a guarantor. So they guarantee to the government of Japan that I have the money to take care of myself while I'm here. AKA I will not become a burden on society. So you'll have to look at the program you chose specifically. Some programs, especially when you go to countries such as Japan, that program itself acts as a guarantor. They guarantee you'll have the money to take care of yourself. They guarantee certain aspects of you, if you will. So there are programs like that. So if you have study abroad on your degree plan and you're a veteran, that is amazing. I'm jealous, just a little bit. And the VA will pay for it. Just make sure that the program you choose is the guarantor. So in Japan, when I came in, I had to go through customs and immigration, obviously, and they asked for the paperwork from my program, ISA, or Musashi. The university itself that I'm going to also acts as a guarantor. So it was kind of twofold, if you will. A lot of universities that I've heard of actually do act as the guarantor in the country where the student will be staying. I don't know exactly how every program works. I apologize, but I have not researched that far into it. But the program itself will determine whether you need that amount of money. So say for instance, in Japan, it's 100,000 yen, right? Approximately per month. It's about $1,000. You could easily survive in Japan on less than $1,000 a month. Unless, of course, you want to eat out every day. And then it can start adding up. But what happened is my program sent all the information. So when I went to go get my visa from the Japanese consulate in Houston, I gave them my paperwork showing that I have a guarantor. And they accepted it. That was it. That's all it took. You can also ask the consulate for the country you're going to. So if you're going to the UK, you can ask their consulate in your state or your major city. Texas is so big, we've kind of got a couple consulates in the same general area. So, but I would definitely speak with the consulate of the country you're going to, just because then you'll have more information. And if it is an English-speaking country, such as the UK, then there's less lost in translation, if you will. There was a little bit lost in translation when I went to the Japanese consulate, but thankfully the paperwork that I had was not only in English for the student, but it was also in Japanese for the consulate. So speak with your consulate for where you're going. And if you're an American student, don't forget to sign up for STEP. STEP is the federal government's way of keeping you updated and knowing where all of their citizens are. So I enrolled in STEP to say, hey, I'm coming to Japan. I'm going to be in this city, in this prefecture at this time. Now, if I leave Japan for any reason, say, for example, during Golden Week, which is kind of like spring break in the US, except it's only 3 days. Say I want to go to South Korea, right? So I have to go speak to the consulate, get a re-entry visa, do all that with immigration. And I have to let my dorm know so that, if there's an incident, they know where I'm at. Plus, I have to advise the United States State Department via the STEP website that, hey, I'm going to be in South Korea in this city during this time. This is the flight information. It seems really, really tedious, but considering where I'm at in Japan, which is on the Ring of Fire, if there's an earthquake and I am not in Japan and they don't know that, they're going to assume that something happened. It's better to be safe than sorry, if you will. So check with not only your program, but also the consulate for the country you're going to. A lot of countries, well, I can't say a lot of countries, a good proportion of countries require a visa for long-term stay. 90 days, typically not a big deal. It's just a tourist visa. But if you're staying for study abroad, most of them, I said it again, I'm sorry, a good proportion of them require a student visa. So there's that. Just keep it in mind. So now on to the good stuff. Now that I've gotten the important stuff out of the way, I have my schedule for my classes, which finally started. Finally, today, as in like today. My schedule, my wonderful, wonderful schedule. My Monday is completely empty, minus one class. But that one class I feel is going to be one of the most important. As a political science major, as most of you know, and a national security studies minor, it's important for me to be able to learn about the political cultures of other countries. It's kind of like taking a comparative politics class, but just on one country. So that starts today. It's once a week. I'm used to taking political science classes 2 or 3 times a week. This is once a week, Monday, and it's the only class I have on Monday. So this is going to be interesting. But I have classes 5 days a week, which I haven't had classes 5 days a week since my freshman year. So it's going to be kind of weird. But everything is ready. I do encourage y'all, even if y'all don't get to study abroad, go abroad. Especially if you're a student. And even more so if you're a veteran. Veterans have seen so much and so much negativity that it's nice to be able to go somewhere and see other things, experience other things, and seeing that life isn't always at the end of a barrel of a gun. Now granted, if you're a veteran, you're probably going to be older than most of the kids in your study abroad class. I'm older than every single one of them. So there's that. But as a veteran, you're already older than most of the students in your classes in your home country or your home university anyways. So the biggest difference would be you're in a foreign country with a bunch of people that are probably 5 to 10 years your junior. Most of them have never lived outside of their home state. And so it's harder for them, I've noticed, to travel to a completely foreign country where the language is completely different. Completely different. I'm sure those of you that have studied abroad in Europe or England have noticed the same thing. It's a learning curve, and it's a very steep learning curve, especially in Japan with the class schedules. There's 10 minutes between classes. It's class, lunch break, class. Like, that's it. There's no... It's not like the US, especially at the University of Houston, where you've got this whole set of classes that you can take. From 8 in the morning, 8:30 in the morning, all the way to 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. It's not like that. These are your classes. You get 10 minutes between. Go. So, granted, I got to pick my classes, but it's very interesting learning curve. And it's a short period of time to learn. So whatever y'all do, whatever y'all decide, make sure you approach it with an open mind. Always approach with an open mind. And for veterans, it's a lot harder to study abroad. We don't have the opportunities, the abilities, the finances that most people do, that most people's parents do. And I was extremely fortunate. Granted, I now have a student loan, but it's a lot smaller student loan than most people will have when they graduate. And it's, how do I say it? It's a blessing in disguise because veterans have been through so much. And it's an opportunity that I'm willing to embrace. So next time, hopefully, if I remember, next time I will do a tour of the campus. I probably won't be talking during it, but don't know the club activities. There are a couple club activities that we looked into, and they're either only available for people staying 4 years, or they're not available at all, or so. Have a couple more to find out about. Until then, until next time, peace.